you know how the story originally broke? The Packers podcaster named Big B.
Shout out Big B.
Jamal Williams is inside the 30, out in front, a Green Bay touchdown.
Jamal Williams is the GOAT, the GOAT. That's all you need to know.
Let's keep it under 25 minutes, all right?
We might be too young to have a spotted cow, but we are both diehard Packers fans. Does anybody remember when Trevor Davis in week 4 of the preseason of 2018 took a punt to the house against the Eagles? Oh, man. Electrifying preseason moment. Or when Taysom Hill and Joe Callahan had to split playing time against Washington, and they both did great, and it was just so exciting to see who would make the cut, and I don't think either of them did. But the preseason is upon us, and there's always so many great names to rattle off 5 years from now. So we are not obviously in the regular season yet for NFL football, but it is still a very exciting time, and we are here to talk about it as Packers gear up for the first preseason game of the year in Cincinnati. I'm Joey. Welcome into the Underage Packers podcast. And with me, as always, as a man whose online brand has been absorbed by the fact that he filmed a few plays at Packers practice a few weeks ago, Big B, how we feeling this lovely preseason?
Well, I finally got out of the prison cell at Lambeau, so just in time for preseason football. So we're living life now.
Good to have you back here. It's great. So today we're going to be previewing that game in Cincinnati, and then also looking at everything that has happened since we left Green Bay a few weeks back after the first week of training camp. Quite a few stuff has happened since then. They got the pads on right after we left. They had family night where you got to apparently learn quite a bit about the NBC 26 personalities. I wasn't able to watch. Yeah, I wasn't able to watch, so I don't know what all that fuzz was about, but it sounded like an interesting broadcast going on there. So we'll be talking about that, some of the other stars of training camp so far. We'll talk about the feisty, aggressive joint practice the Packers had with the Bengals yesterday, and then we'll look ahead to tonight's game. So let's start off with family night here. Happened last Friday, and the product of family night has kind of fizzled down over the years. Yeah, that is being nice too, but it used to be a full-on scrimmage, and then because of two things, it's been meddled down to a fun practice with fireworks. And those two reasons are, in my mind, one, Brian Balaga tearing his ACL in 2012, and then also the fact that with the new CBA and CBAs of the past, they don't have that much leeway with how many practices they can have, so they got to make sure they get as much practices in as possible. So I get it, and honestly, the core diehard fans of us who want to see a full-on scrimmage, that's not who family night is for. It is for families. They got jumpy houses going on at Titletown and all of that. They got face painting, I'm sure, and fun stuff going on around Lambeau Field, and then fireworks, of course. So, it's not as exciting as it used to be, but for what the Packers are trying to go for, it does the job, Hope they have a fun time. So outside of that, though, it still was a practice, and there still was some stuff to talk about. First off, Jordan Love had some pretty dang good throws. First off, I want to show you this one, and I'm sorry if you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify with video, but Jordan Love had an insane pass to Christian Watson over the shoulder. Do you remember who the guy defending him was?
I think it was Corey Ballantyne, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so whoever it was got absolutely mossed by Christian Watson, and it just, I don't know about you, Big B, but it got me so hyped for what is to come with that connection there. And then you also had Jordan Love in the red zone. He had a play where he was evading pressure, and then he does a very nice sidestep, kind of off-balance throw I mean, it was only like a 5-yard throw, but he he kind of confuses quite a few defenders there, and gets a really nice pass to Aaron Jones. And that's play specifically that kind of went viral on Twitter because of you posting it on Twitter. Again, I think it got to PFF's Twitter page, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it did.
So that video went kind of viral, and of course the haters were there too and saying, "Oh, if this was an actual game, he would have been sacked 5 seconds before he threw the ball," which is probably true. But let us be excited for the talent that Jordan Love is showing there. And with that play specifically, it got me really excited for the potential playing style he might have this season of and I know people are going to go crazy when I say this because they don't understand that I'm not trying to say he's going to be Patrick Mahomes or anything close to him because he's in his own category. But I would almost compare it to 2014 Aaron Rodgers, of his ability to, I'm forgetting the exact word for it, but to continue the play. A little bit of Russell Wilson in him, extend the play outside of the pocket. So that got me excited for sure. And I'm sure that might have led to many interceptions at Utah State, but hopefully he's able to clean up his game with the Packers here. Other than that, any highlights from family night you want to bring up, Big B?
Oh boy. I don't believe so. That Jordan Love pass to Aaron Jones, that little sidearm thing, really did remind me of Aaron Rodgers' first touchdown against the Vikings in 2008, which my friend Trevor, who runs Green Bay Packers on Instagram, posted it side by side. And it actually did look very similar, so that was pretty cool. And it got my juices flowing for the season.
There we go. And just to clarify, you mean like green.bay.packers?
Yes.
Okay, the fan page, not the actual page there.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, exciting stuff. And one thing also that I noticed at family night was the support Packers fans had for Jordan Love. He did a post-game interview on field, and they played it over the PA system with John Kuhn. And when Kuhn introduces Love, the crowd, I wouldn't say goes nuts, but they definitely welcome him warmly, which is just a night and day from 2008 when Aaron Rodgers is named as a starter. And obviously it's a little bit different because there was still some confusion and there was still a chance that Brett Favre would be playing for the Packers that year. But when Rodgers goes out there, has a bad family night, just booed endlessly. So I'm very happy to see this difference. And it got me thinking, not only with that moment, but you can kind of sense this whole offseason and when we were at training camp too, that a lot of this fan base has Jordan's back, which is interesting. And I was trying to think, what is the difference between now and with Aaron Rodgers? And obviously, there's still plenty of Jordan Love haters on Twitter. They're not hard to find, but the differences between the two situations are coming into. For one, I think it's what I just mentioned of the Favre drama kind of carried all the way into training camp, which was very messy. And you could say that Aaron Rodgers kind of made himself a diva to many Packers fans, but Brett Favre did the same exact thing. He also played the same thing of, am I going to retire this year or will I not, for 4 straight years?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the differences is outside of that. Maybe you could say that seeing Aaron Rodgers sit on the bench for 3 years and how he turned out, maybe Packers fans realize that it can be done. This formula has worked before with our team. So for whatever reason it is, I'm just very excited to see this overwhelming support for Jordan Love. And I hope it carries into the season. And I hope patience comes along with that as well.
Yes, it makes me very happy to see that majority of the fan base has taken his back. And like you said, compared to how they were with Aaron and even how they were compared to when he was drafted, all of that hate towards him is a complete 180, and it just makes me so happy to see.
Absolutely. So that's family night. And then going into this week on this Wednesday, the team traveled out to Cincinnati to throw it down with the Bengals for some joint practices. It kind of ruined me and Big B's travel schedule for training camp, but that's all right. Matt had to go out there, see his good buddy Zach Taylor. And there wasn't anything too thrilling to come out of those joint practices, but obviously, LaFleur has talked endlessly about the benefit of that, having to go against an actual defense that you're not familiar with, and vice versa. So really hope it plays off. And then obviously too, having that, a look at the team before the preseason game for, I think specifically with your young quarterback, to see what he can learn from that joint practice and see how he adjusts in game, even if he's only playing a few drives in there. A few highlights from yesterday's practice, though, were Jordan having a really nice pass to Romeo Doubs, which was exciting. I'll throw that clip up too. And then something that was happening not only yesterday, but through this whole past week of practices was Zach Tom taking snaps at center instead of Josh Myers, and then Yash Diamond taking Tom's spot at right tackle. And this is something we talked about in the episode that we did when we were there at training camp, and then also in the video I did before training camp talking about the camp battles, how this offensive line versatility is really going to live true to that statement that Matt LaFleur likes to throw out there all the time, and you can say it's cliche, of his throwing the best five out there. Right? They're really looking with the versatility they have with so many of these young players that they can really just throw out their best lineup. So Zach Tom, we know he played plenty of center at Wake Forest. We know he can get the job done. It's just going to come down to, do they think Yash? Well, do they think trading out Myers for Tom is worth the value of trading in Nyman for Tom at right tackle? So we'll have to see how that plays out throughout the rest of training camp too here. So interesting note there.
I still don't think that's a good idea. I still don't think it's a good idea putting Zach Thomas center and Yash at right tackle. And something that I thought of for the first time was keeping Yash on the bench, keeping him rested in case something flares up with David again. Like you want Yash healthy and rested and ready to go in case something happens with David. And I think that's just a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think,
it makes sense. Like you wouldn't want to put that in jeopardy.
Yeah,
even if it doesn't happen either.
Right, and I mean, I think Josh, it's too early. Josh Myers, I think it's too early to close the book on him too.
Exactly.
So we'll see what they throw out there though. But either way, it is truly an embarrassment of riches that we have two or three guys that could not be starting, but no, they could be valuable pieces either way. And then one last note from yesterday's joint practice besides fight is Lucas Van Ness is apparently causing havoc for that Bengals offensive line, which is very, very good. Okay, I will add that. I know they were terrible like 2 years ago, and I remember that whole controversy of, the Bengals are just adding Jamar Chase because he played with Burrow at LSU, and now they aren't addressing that offensive line. They aren't going to get very far with that. But that has turned around quickly for sure. Van Ness having himself a really good day yesterday. And he was one of the players, among others, that I saw people on Twitter literally be like, oh boy, I have not seen enough tweets about him. I'm getting a little worried. Oh, God bless. Guys, please touch grass. I'm just as diehard as you. But you, like, judging a player off of not seeing enough tweets from Rob Domofsky about him from a training camp practice, like, let's take a step back here. All right.
Yeah. And you can only tweet so many things at one time.
Right.
It's impossible to touch every base.
Right. And I will say, after attending those three practices and going to training camp for the past 3 years, like, it is a totally different thing watching it in person than on Twitter. But I still do watch every practice on Twitter. So that's that. And then the big drama of the practices in Cincinnati, or the singular practice, was Elton Jenkins getting in a fight with DJ Reader and Jermaine Pratt and the rest of the Bengals defense, and the Twitter drama that ensued as well. And, you know, the funny thing is, like, literally the main reason at least the first fight started was because Elton Jenkins owned a linebacker on a screenplay, which is funny. And then so that happens. Elton, he instigated the second fight, apparently. And then Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach, came out there and escorted him off, which is fine. It's whatever. And then DJ Reader, who's apparently a big player in this fight too, he tweets out there, he says he is a jag. He doesn't name drop Elton, but it was pretty obvious to assume who he was referring to there. And then Rob Demovsky added in, he said that Reader told Demovsky and Bill Huber after practice, he said, quote, "Man, he's a jag, man. I don't know that guy. No idea who he is. I mean, I see he made 2 Pro Bowls, so good for him, but he blocked for Aaron Rodgers. That don't make you nobody." So that's interesting. It just seems like a dumb move to me.
Yeah, he doesn't know who he is, but he knows exactly everything that he has done in his NFL career.
Right.
So that makes.
Yeah, it's just so dumb to me. And I tweeted this out yesterday. The pretending like you don't know who a player is or a coach is to make you seem like you're superior to them is just dumb, because I think it just makes you look like you aren't doing enough of film work off the field. Like, I remember when Kayvon Thibodeau, he laid on a Colts player who was injured to like do a snowflake celebration. And then Jeff Saturday calls Thibodeau out for it. He's like, that was unacceptable. And Thibodeau was asked about Saturday's comments, and he's like, well, I don't even know who that is, so I don't care. Like, that is, I mean, first of all, that is a dumb mindset to have in life of, oh, I've never heard of him, so I'm not going to take their criticism. I mean, it's a little bit different if it's a nameless Twitter profile, but like, this is a person. And also, like, past the fact that he was a great center for many years, maybe not with the Packers, but he was there on the Packers. Like, I wouldn't expect an NFL player to know that, because I remember Devontae Adams kind of reminded me a few years ago, not me personally, but just in a press conference, that like, these NFL players aren't like all big time NFL fans growing up. So like, I wouldn't expect Thibodeau to remember Jeff Saturday from being a big time NFL fan, but the fact that you don't know the other coach's name, like, that just makes me think you're really dumb. Anyways, I regress back to DJ Reader. I mean, am I wrong to say he played Elton Jenkins in the like early season game in 2021? And you're telling me, I mean, I don't expect you to remember every offensive guard that you face, but you don't remember like watching tape on this guy at all? Yikes.
Yeah.
And I could.
He's a bitch. He's a bitch. That's it.
All right. Tell him how you really feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was annoying. I just didn't see the point. Like, DJ Reader, I think he's a fine player. I know who he is. And I'm willing to admit that. My ego is not as big as him, and I can admit that I am aware of who DJ Reader is. So that's a bit funny. So, past that drama, though, seemed like a otherwise smooth practice besides fighting, you know? Yeah. But that's the excitement of competition, I guess you could say.
And in my personal opinion, Elton did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He should have not been kicked out. I mean, my opinion, they started it. Even if Elton did start it, they actually started it.
There you go. So that's that. And then tonight they will take Paul Brown Stadium for a preseason game. First of the year, of course. And I just want to go over some players that we are watching in this game. The first preseason game is kind of always the most boring of them all, because They are trying to deal with getting their players just up to a live situation. They're obviously, like they are for all the preseason, aren't going to reveal anything new out of their playbook.
Don't want other teams to get that competitive advantage.
Oh no, of course. It's not like It's not like come week 1 you're going to have film available.
I know.
Can't have that competitive advantage. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it is still the preseason, so let's talk about a few players that we're looking forward to watching tonight against Cincinnati. For me, 2 of the guys I'm looking at. One, Luke Musgrave, who, from every report we've heard and in person, just an animal. He's still got a lot to polish up in his game as far as run blocking goes. But as far as just a pure receiver, he is big, he is fast, he is awesome, and he is cool. That is your report on Luke Musgrave, and I am excited to see him in action tomorrow night. And then Carrington Valentine, 7th round draft pick out of Kentucky. He is not even quietly, he is screaming from the rooftops that he is having a good camp. Okay.
Yes. He's a dog. Like a dog.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? I watched Missouri's 2022 season. And in their game against Kentucky, honestly, Valentine didn't have too many one-on-one opportunities. But from what I could see from him, he is a very aggressive player. So excited to see what he can do in that cornerback room. There's plenty of spots open for him, I would say. If he continues to stack these good practices on top of each other and performs good in the preseason, you look at this cornerback room, and I know we talked about it a few times before training camp, you have your 3 guys of Jair, Russell, and Keyshawn Nixon. And then after that, Stokes is hurt, although he does seem to be on a good path. But still after that, who knows what your cornerback room is looking like. So Valentine, I think, has a good chance. I like his chances to make the roster at this point, and I like his chances to also be, getting a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but quite a few looks in the regular season as well. So very excited to see how Valentine looks tomorrow. Big B.
And it seems like he's like always around the ball too.
Oh yeah.
Every report, it seems like he's almost has an interception or has an interception or a PBU. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, he's taking one to the house tomorrow. Book it.
Oh, easily.
Who do you have your eyes on tomorrow, Big B?
Oh boy, my first guy is Carl Brooks, rookie, of course. He seems like he's been in the backfield a lot, especially recently during camp. That's really exciting to see because we need Kenny Clark to get some help. We need somebody else in there, and like I mentioned before in our episode with Cassidy Hill, not very confident in the defensive line room quite yet. But I'm excited to see how he does in his first preseason game, and hopefully he gets a lot of opportunities this season. Mm-hmm. And then my second guy is Colby Wooden, mostly because I like him. He's really funny. He's taken over that little funny Jamal Williams part in my heart. And again, it seems like he's been in the backfield a lot more recently, disrupting things, and pretty much everything else. What I said with Carl Brooks. So there's 2 guys I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow or today.
Awesome. Yeah, that defensive line room is another room just like cornerbacks where there's pretty much spots everywhere as far as depth goes. So excited to see what those 2 guys can do. Other than that, got a preseason game tomorrow. Very excited for it. And the preseason, after that first week of the preseason, the training camp preseason stuff really picks up, and all of a sudden it's September 9th and we're getting ready to watch the Packers take on the Bears. So very excited for it. Any other thoughts you wanted to add on preseason training camp, Big B?
Ooh, let's see. Just hopefully the Packers don't do anything crazy, because I don't want other teams to get that competitive advantage watching a 4-yard out route to do swats, That'd be just tragic if they pick that up.
Yeah, I think they should really regress back to like a 1940 wing T style offense.
Yeah.
That will like for sure keep everything under wraps there. I have no doubt.
Yeah, just take was it Army's playbook? Just take their playbook. It's just a run every play.
Yeah,
simple.
There you go. If you kneel it every play, there is nothing that future teams can take from that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I hope they do that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to get that idea along
because
Mark
I'd
Murphy.
be just damned if Chicago takes our plays.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Let's hope Mark Murphy doesn't hear this, or else he will be on that in the next 5 minutes.
Yes.
Other than that, that's all we got for you. I would like to say this is probably my last podcast episode that I'll be filming in this room for quite some time as I move to the University of Missouri next week. Very excited for that. Also did want to say I'm now writing, if you didn't see my jubilant announcement on Twitter, I'm now writing over at fanbuzz.com thanks to our buddy Tyler Brook. So excited for that. So other than that, we got exciting things going here at Underage Packers. I'm sure we'll have our annual preseason content meeting sometime in the near future. So exciting stuff. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of it. With that being said, we'll be here soon to recap this preseason game against Cincinnati. And as always, go Pack, go.